be right back. All right. Um. Sorry. My head is swimming with delayed, staggery, malnourished thoughts. Farm school today was in Washington Heights, like almost Inwood area, so really, 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 really North Manhattan. And I had a very light breakfast lunch thing before I went, and I had a few sun chips while I was there, and I'm so hungry that I'm not hungry anymore. And I was hoping to get back home sooner than this today, but class ran about an hour later, so I need to make dumplings for grandma. I just got my flu shot today. Um, so this arm is starting to hurt, and I figured that I should do it today before it gets worse tomorrow. Um, I'm gonna be boiling some potatoes for just making a potato salad. So there's gonna be a lot of cooking today, and I'm not feeling like very energetic. So I'm just setting expectations and letting you all know what you're signing up for if you choose to join us this evening. But as always, you know the deal. Even if I'm not talking to you, you can talk to each other, right? I currently have 4 lights on, and I feel like I should turn a few off. It feels rather luxurious for one person to have lights on in 4 different places. So I asked the nurse today, have people been getting more COVID shots or more flu shots? And she said more COVID, but she also said that they come in unmasked. So whoever is concerned about catching COVID is certainly not concerned about like masking, which is very interesting to me. I don't understand the psychology behind that. I would think that if you're afraid of getting COVID to the extent that you're ready to get jabbed, that you should mask. But maybe people just think that if you get vaxxed, then you won't need to mask, which maybe, I don't know, but fascinating psychology. Lately, I've been drinking rice water, which is literally just a small bit of rice brewed in a lot of water. You can call it like poor man's congee, I guess, even though congee is already a poor man's food. This is even more poor man, and I'm really enjoying how nicely starchy, soothing, calming, and it has a little bit of a body to it too because of the starches in it. It has a very like translucent yet glowy tone to the water, and I just find it very encapsulating and comforting. I love seeing myself on my phone screen that I'm streaming off of and on my laptop. It's like triple me, really. Mm. But yeah, y'all, I understand. Masking is not pleasant, but it's also not unpleasant if you get used to it. And as with almost everything, it's psychology. So, um, but let's start making the dumpling filling. I don't have cabbage today, and I actually don't have scallions today, but I did get garlic and ginger. So we'll be shredding a lot of carrots today for Grandma's dumps. And I'll also be using some celery leaves. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and chop my potatoes so that they can start boiling. And I'm thinking about seasoning the water with salt. What is everyone's opinion on salting potato cooking water. Pro. It is a waste of salt. Well, I guess we'll just go ahead and use this really cheap ass iodized salt. Fun. I saw these potatoes and I said, let's eat them. So now we're going to eat potatoes. I've been feeling very starchy lately, which is to say I've been craving more rice, barley, grains, beans as always, but especially these more carbohydrate, low protein stuff. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe I just haven't eaten them in a long time, or maybe my body is craving them, so I've been practicing listening to these wishes as they come up. It's been very interesting to notice the change in self-talk and mental conversations regarding food choices for me, because I think for a long time I operated under this almost default state of ignoring what I want to eat unless it fell within my very restrictive rules of what is good to eat and what is not good to eat. And I think this year I've been trying to be practicing more of a mindset of recognizing my desires and acting on them rather than suppressing them or judging them. So even though eating a potato may not seem all that exotic, it is like a food that I don't eat very often. But I'm glad that I am. So instead of scallions, which I don't have, I'm going to be chopping up the celery leaves. Did we get to hear how Aaron's Thailand trip went? I don't know. I think it went well, but if you don't follow him on social media, then I don't know what to tell you. Certainly it's not my trip to update people on. But I think he enjoyed it for the most part. off my potatoes, I find that it has a sort of astringency that I don't like. And it could be that I'm actually mildly allergic to nightshades, of which I think potatoes are one. So I am in the habit of peeling my potatoes. I don't like feeling that discomfort in my throat. And I just like my pure starchy goodness without any fibers getting in the way. But I totally understand that a lot of people prefer to leave the skins on. Currently that's not for me, but I'm happy for you if that's what you like. I'm just mincing some celery real fast to go into our dumpling filling. This is going to be, I think, a rather long live. So if you want to do something else and come back in an hour, pretty sure I'll still be here. But I'm trying to use the dumplings as a way of getting some vegetables in Grandma. All she does is complain about how salty everything is and how they keep feeding her leftovers, so I'm pretty certain that she's not eating the food that they give her. Even when they give her like roast chicken legs and drumsticks and thighs, sometimes I come in the next day and they're still on her desk. So food that looks perfectly edible to me and even delicious, dare I say, Grandma isn't even touching sometimes. I don't really know what to do about it, so I've stopped caring about it, to be honest with you. I don't have it in me. Yeah, Grandma would not like Japanese curry at all. And certainly not if I told her it's Japanese, because she hates Japanese people and everything associated with Japan, because war trauma. You know? I don't think she's ever gonna get over that. So, best if I don't tell her it's Japanese. How long do people boil potatoes for? Like 20 minutes? That should do it. Probably less. Yeah, I don't really pick my battles. I try not to fight any battles until it really gets unmanageable for me emotionally, and then I act out. Which, yes, I know it's not the healthiest thing. We have all acknowledged this over again several times, but it be what it be. Sounds so long. "30 minutes sounds very long. Whoops. Yeah, we're gonna need to clean this stove tonight. Today started off weird. I accidentally fried Grandma's dumpling instead of boiling them, which meant I dropped frozen dumplings with ice condensation into basically boiling oil. It was not a good time for anyone, especially not for me. So I really need to make sure that I'm staying awake these days. Sometimes I'm not doing a great job of that, and I end up frying frozen dumplings. My kitchen is a mess. My life is starting to feel a little messy too. I feel like I'm a little bit calmer from, grieving mom for this year because her death anniversary has now passed, but I still feel like my brain isn't all here sometimes. Almost like it's checked out or something, and I don't know if it's because I'm tired or what. But not sure if I can blame it on any retrogrades. Definitely don't recommend frying frozen dumplings. Bad idea. I don't know if I deserve to keep blaming things on grief, I feel like I've used it for a long enough excuse now that maybe I just need to own up to the fact that I'm getting old and tired and things don't really work the way they're supposed to anymore on some days. But today was kind of fun on my way back from farm school. I was riding the train with a classmate, and a viewer of Budget Eats recognized me, and we proceeded to chat for about, 20 minutes or so while we were all on the train. Very, very interesting exchange occurred. I think a lot of personal information was shared, so I'm not going to repeat it here, but definitely one of the more memorable meetings I've had, just the way that they were very upfront with asking me questions and very very curious and very, very energetic curiosity. But yeah, I guess if you see me and you want to, say hi. I am currently not showered and very hungry, so I'm going to eat some cereal. I took out this jar of leftover and I was going to eat it, but my body is telling me that it really wants sugary cereal right now. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of listening to my body, and maybe we should eat that cereal now. Because the sugary cereal is sugary, I'm going to add some matcha to the cold milk. Maybe that'll help balance out the sweetness in a nice way. I don't know why. I never used to like Frosted Wheats, and this is a Duane Reade knockoff version of Frosted Wheats. Aaron used to like eating Frosted Wheats a lot, just dried. But I kid you not, I've been staring at this box every time I go into Duane Reade for the past month. And I just want to eat it. So let's just eat it. I also have these peppers that is currently in the bowl that I want to use for eating my cereal in. So let's eat these peppers first. Maybe this is like the universe's way of telling me that I should also eat my vegetables too. And they're very delicious peppers. So, win-win. They're just literally covered in a layer of sugar. It doesn't even taste that good, but I want it. What are you gonna do? Actually, let's try it dry with some matcha on top, right? This sounds really good, actually. And the matcha will give me some energy to carry through with the dumpling making, I think. Absolutely loaded with matcha. That's maybe a little too much. Okay. Very interesting. I would walk away from the statement, I didn't eat well today. If you're using that as a way of judging your food choices, it's not helping your mentality of loving yourself more or being at peace. So I would say maybe think about how to frame the choices you made today in a way that helps you make peace with yourself. Okay, great. I'm glad to hear you're at peace. Wow. This almost tastes healthy now. Like, not healthy in terms of it's good for you, but healthy in terms of like, it tastes like a bougie health food that they're selling to you for way too much money. That kind of healthy. Aaron sent me a video about how Sweetgreen is losing money even though they're charging $16 on their salads. Mind-boggling, right, guys? Congratulations on setting up your farm over there. That's awesome. Let's chop up some of these peppers for Grandma too. Who knows? Maybe she'll like a hint of pepper in her dumps. When I started this live, I was in the mindset of, oh my god, I have so much cooking to do, it'll never get done. And right now I'm trying to attune myself back into the mindset that I enjoy cooking and that I'm going to take my time with it, and that whatever we get done, and if I get tired, we're going to take breaks, and ultimately just trying to make this experience a enjoyable one for myself and not one that makes me frame it in a way that makes me feel anxious. So I guess this is both experience, therapy, and Instagram therapy that have gotten me to the stage of trying to be more in touch with metacognition and how much of an impact that can have on the way I experience my day-to-day living. And I'm saying this out loud for mostly myself to reinforce this behavior so that I both remember what I'm doing and to speak it out loud in such a way that it becomes more and more of my identity. But maybe also it is beneficial for some of you to hear as well, in case you struggle with similar things in life. It's kind of like spreading my therapy wealth, I guess. For people who can't afford therapy, I might as well share the tips that I glean. Good choice on the cereal. It's hitting the spot. How many carrots do you think should go with a pound of pork? Do you think 3 or 4? Oh, God. Am I buffering for everyone or just for some of you? Let me know. It currently looks like I'm live. So if I'm buffering, I'm not sure for whom I'm buffering. Let me know. If it's not good, then I go off. I'm so glad you're in a calmer space. Yeah, chat was buffering for me too, but I'm not sure what that's about. You gotta take it up with the YouTube gods. Not I. Oh my god, guys. I really don't know if I should be cooking tonight. Seems like my entire day has been off. I woke up extremely sore, not because I exercised a whole lot, but because I fell off a bed. I was in a wheel pose and my hand slipped off the mattress, which of course, if you're in wheel pose and one hand slips, you've lost the wheel. So I basically crashed. Most of my body weight landed on my right knee, but all of my body made impact with the floor upon falling. And, you know, I'm in my mid-30s, and I'm not accustomed to falling like that. But we're here. We're alive. And I'm thankful that I didn't crash on my neck, my head. It could have been way worse. You've never heard of wheel pose? It's the one where you are basically doing like a back bend and you're like an upside down U. Your hand, your palm and your soles of the foot are all on the floor and your back is extended with your belly facing the sky. But yeah, it was not great. Not a great look, not a great move, not a great decision. I'll think twice before doing that again. I might do it again. I would love to roll a J, but I've actually never rolled a J. I don't know how to roll joints. I don't own rolling papers either, so that would be extremely hard for me to do right now. I could smoke, but then I would not be able to cook. I'm not functional when I'm high. Did anyone ever say how many carrots we should use? Or was that when all the comments were freaking out and delayed? Three carrots. Parchment paper? I don't think I want to smoke parchment paper, first of all. Parchment paper, so I've heard, has silicone embedded in it, which is what gives it the nonstick property that we're also used to. And I'm not really a fan of smoking silicone. You went shopping high after watching 3 of my videos. What did you buy? I want to know. We've been on for almost 40 minutes and I haven't even finished the filling yet. Good God. Alright, we're not going to do this to myself. How do you see Aaron on social media? You go to Instagram and you type in his Instagram handle. And his Instagram handle, I think, is that. It's all the different ways to misspell his name. That's not how you spell his name, by the way. So if you ever misspell his name, it's one of Aaron's biggest pet peeves. The thumbnail is Grandma's art, yes. Huh. Ah, here you are. Here you are. All right, ginger grating. Oh my God, yo. I am making life impossible for myself today. Just flipped ginger every fucking where. Oh God. don't know, guys. This kitchen is becoming messier by the moment. My God. Let's fucking clean this shit up. You know, I can't stand mess. I'm angry at myself now, too. It's never good. We fix things as we go. And tell ourselves it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I think what happens when there's mess is I start to judge myself way more intensely. And I kind of zone into the very natural guilt and shame parts of myself that emerge easily. Terrifyingly easily. Potatoes. That was 20 minutes. Let's taste. See if they're cooked. And if they're not cooked, then we keep cooking. They feel cooked. They seem cooked. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they're definitely cooked. All right. Well, let's think about what to season them with. I was thinking of... Ooh, yum. Ooh, yum. Okay. The Trader Joe's French onion dip, I think, could make for a very easy potato salad dressing. Hey, you know what? You tried going without red meat for a week. At least you tried. I appreciate that effort. At least you tried. The red box grater was from the free table at work. The brand is called Joseph Joseph. That's all I can tell you. Lauren says, please don't answer if this is too much, but I'm seeing someone who lost their father 1 year ago today. I want to let her know that I hope she's had a peaceful weekend and that I care. Okay. Should I send words of support or let her have her peace? I don't think you should send her too much words. You can send some. Send her exactly what you sent us, just a line or two. But, you know, don't overwhelm her with your feelings. If you're truly reaching out because you care about her, let her know that you care about her and that You're thinking of her, but like, you don't have to write a whole essay. That's my thoughts. Other people might have different thoughts, but those are my thoughts. The thing is, grief is not for other people to understand. Sometimes I don't even understand my own grief. So even though I know people mean well when they reach out to me, it doesn't really help me all that much. But what does really make me feel very bittersweet in a satisfying and peaceful way is when people DM me about how me sharing my experience has helped them understand their own experience and process their own experience, because that makes me feel helpful. It doesn't make me feel good when other people are like reaching out with condolences, because that makes me feel useless, you know? And suffering through grief is already a very helpless situation to handle and process and deal with, that I don't really need other people's condolences, because I already feel like shit and helpless and powerless. So to know that other people also recognize that I'm powerless, I think subconsciously, unconsciously, or maybe even consciously, can be unpleasant in a certain way. Even though you mean well, it's not what they might need at this point. But I think just a simple thinking of you today, let me know if there's anything you need, could be nice. I'm a pretty, like, solitary, independent person who would never ask someone for stuff, even if they offered. Although I've gotten better at taking offers and asking for help after Mom's death, because I realized that Mom never did that. But, you know, some people just like being independent because they're used to it. Don't take it personally, however they react. It's just like, also, I'm not saying this about you, Lauren. I'm also saying from my personal experience of like Mom's contacts reaching out to me to let me know that they're thinking of me. Like, I appreciate it, but I'm also fucking annoyed sometimes by getting those messages, even though I consciously know that I shouldn't be, that I logically should be thankful that people are thinking of me. But like, there's like always in the back of my head, like, well, what are you doing for me, you know? Like, I know you're thinking of me, but like, what does that amount to? And I know that's a very like mean thing to think about, but that's just, I'm just letting you know what goes through my psyche. That's what goes through my psyche. I don't have to identify with it, but I definitely recognize that that kind of thinking goes through my head when people reach out to me. But yeah, I mean, if she's opened up to you about it, then why don't, here, I don't know if she's anywhere near me in terms of personality, but I would appreciate it if, like, maybe you just asked her about her comfort level of talking about this. Because, you know, she and I are not the same person, and so we won't handle things the same way. But anyway, we have lots of veggies and garlic and ginger in here. I'm going to go in with a lot of sesame oil. Because Grandma loves this shit. Then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of soy sauce. Black vinegar. MSG. straight up salt. It's hard to say what grandma wants, truly. She'll insist that she doesn't like sweets, and then I give her something sweet and she happens to like it. There's just no telling. I think grandma does something that mom did that I also do, which is like self-denial. Justifying the goodness of a food item and therefore making herself not want to eat it because it's perceived to be bad for her. I secretly suspect that grandma loves sugary stuff. She just thinks it's gonna give her diabetes, so she doesn't eat it. But yeah, grandma likes a lot of peanuts, which makes her cough, unfortunately. She likes nuts, but she can't chew through most of them anymore. She really wants me to buy her persimmons, but they're really not in season and they're not soft enough for her yet. So, you know. She likes strawberries. I bought her some strawberries today. Very, very not cheap and also not good, but she wanted them, so I got them. These dumplings are for grandma, so they'll definitely have meat. Good cereal. What can I eat next, though? I'm gonna eat a plum next. Sorry, the first hour and a half of this live is just gonna be me snacking while trying to make dumpling filling. Yeah, what do you all do while watching my streams? No, I didn't stop eating meat. I just don't eat a lot of it. Oh, it's not a very good plum. Mm-mm. Alright, we're gonna eat the rest of this potato now. Instant mash. Quite delightful. Where's my water? Oh. Sorry. I'm just losing my memory. If I ask you where my water is again, I'm putting it right by the streaming phone. So if you see me getting angry at myself, maybe you can save me. Here is the pork. It is very sad industrial pork. I'm so sorry for the pigs who suffered for this. It makes me feel guilty every fucking time. But then I also remind myself that I buy this maybe like once every 3 weeks. I really don't buy meat unless it's scraps for myself. to taste the filling this time before the meat enter the photo or enter the picture, however the saying goes. So let me go ahead and try to salvage a bite of the veggie that hasn't touched the pork yet, just so I can get a gauge on the seasoning. We also need to add some white pepper, I think. All right. Don't worry, this didn't touch the pork yet. Cumin, coriander, white pepper. You found its flavor profile difficult. In what way? Describe. I don't find white pepper difficult at all, but maybe you're not as used to using it, so it reads strange to you. I almost always use white pepper alongside cumin and coriander, black pepper sometimes too. Did you get your burlap and barrel cumin? Yes, I am eating a plum, a very bad mealy plum. I think I need more carrots in here. Well, let me mix this out first. This bowl isn't quite large enough. You're looking for a therapy. You're looking for a therapist. That's great. I just had a friend tell me that they're gonna start therapy too, which is very exciting for me. I don't think everything needs therapy. I don't think everyone needs therapy, but I think if you want to try therapy, it's a great thing to do for yourself. It can be very difficult and uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to sharing much of yourself, especially with strangers. But it can also be a very rewarding experience that gets you closer in touch with yourself, which I think is possibly the most valuable thing in this lifetime, especially given our social structures and the built-in alienation that happens in a capitalistic framework. Remember, the purpose of the machine that is capitalism is to make you into a worker unit not a person. You're a worker unit. You're a unit of production. And so the best way to get you to do what the system wants you to do is for you to forego yourself, to be out of touch with yourself, to be in touch with the system and the goals of the system, and that is an inverse relationship oftentimes with yourself. So therapy with the right therapist and the right mindset, and the desire to get in touch with yourself can be a very cathartic, comforting, and exhausting experience, because it's like testing a muscle and exercising a muscle that has been so untrained, that you feel like it's wrong to do so at the beginning. But remember, everything just needs a little more practice for you to feel like it's right. Just like white pepper, you know? If you try it once and you're off put by it, maybe use less amounts of it, smaller amount, and just give yourself some time to get used to it. And if you decide after 5 or 6 uses of it, you know, at a lower amount, that it's not for you, then maybe it truly isn't for you. So, not everything is for everyone. Therapy too. There are different ways to get in touch with yourself if that's what you desire to do. That's not therapy. But therapy is certainly a nice one, especially if you can afford it. Well, yes, therapy is the cost. I thankfully have a therapist who is very generous with the price that he charges me per hour, especially because I'm out of pocket right now. But clearly it's worth it for me. Clearly I've decided that it is worth the cost of therapy for me to do it. So, you know, therapy is kind of like psychological, mental, emotional, soul food. So it might be even more important for me to have therapy than have pricier food. And you know how much food means to me, so that's all part of it. Actually, I think you're right. I think 3 carrots is good. Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom. Your eternal internet wisdom. And yeah, I you know, it really makes me feel good to know that people are enjoying my videos and that it's helpful for them and cathartic for them. Like, that truly is the most touching and significant praise I could ever receive, to know that me sharing my thoughts and my emotional changes and processing is useful to others in helping them begin to process their own feelings and life experiences. That, in a way, is the building block of what feels to me like community, which is really hard to build. This was something that we were talking in farm school today about too, is like what community means. How do we build it? How do we maintain it? How do we make sure everyone is on the same page regarding how to contribute towards a community? Because I think we've begun to think about community in such a detached and decontextualized way that it's just like automatically a great thing. But community is really hard to build sometimes, which is something that I learned when we unionized our workplace at Hearst. Everyone might be, you know, even pro-union, barring the few who aren't, but not everyone will put in the same amount of work to actually make that community and maintain that community a reality for everyone. So how to do that when not everyone is on the same page is an extremely difficult thing to gauge. and it's something that I'm still learning every day in my life. The importance of community and the difficulty of community, I think, is on par, really. Have fun with your new king bed, Eileen. I'm so happy to hear you have one. King bed sounds luxurious. When I moved into this place, I said I would treat myself the way Mom would have wanted me to by buying myself a nice bed. And I was actually thinking of buying a king. And then I realized that one, it's like way too big. It would be nice to have, but it's very luxurious. Also, the price for all king size beds, mattress, sheet sets, frames, all of those, extremely relatively high compared to the other sizes. So now I just have a queen, and I'm happy with it. But yeah, you go, girl. Next time, if I ever upgrade my life again, maybe I'll give king a try for my next phase. How long has it been? It's been 70 minutes, and we are now getting into the rolling stages of the dumpling. It is currently 9:07 p.m., 9:08 p.m. What percentage of my viewership do you think is queer? And would you count me as queer, in your opinion? You think 60% of my viewership is queer? Holy shit, that's way too, I think that's way too generous of an estimate. Like, what population, what percentage of the population is queer, do you think? That seems immense to have that much queerness in the world. Water break. I'm in the alphabet? So today, this is old dough from last time. It's already square. I don't know if you can tell. But today I'm going to try a new thing. Today, I'm going to see if we can do it the traditional way of rolling out a rope of dough and forming each wrapper on its own. And we'll see if that goes by any faster or slower. Yes. 10% of the world might be queer in terms of statistics, but how many people are actually like closeted consciously and unconsciously because of the way that we punish people for being, you know, non-normative? And how much of a lie is being normative? How much of it is perpetuated by our own ways of ostracizing people for perceived differences? All very interesting things to think about when we consider these identities. Don't forget, there are still countries where you can get like executed for being queer. So all of that undoubtedly have a impact on how people present, identify, and act. I did throw out the wood tea, yes. Do I think I'm queer? I would say that I am spectrum-wise queer, but am I like queer? I don't think I'm queer. But I'm definitely not as normative as I think most of my friends and acquaintances are. Like, how do we define how the queerness scale goes, you know? Like, if everybody else loves and needs sex and I don't, then is that queer or is that just a preference? I think the opinion is out on that. Wait, what are we saying about the tea that Ram and I drank? Ooh, Mr. Rogers? Closeted? That's a conspiracy theory now. Was he married? Eileen, I thought you said you were going to bed. Did you lie to us? True, you can be married and not have that mean a thing. Indeed, I agree. Some people are very good at hiding themselves, even from themselves. One has to wonder what made him so compassionate. I definitely don't put stock in what other people think I am anymore, but I think when I was younger and way more impressionable and feeling like I needed to have external validation to confirm who I was, that it mattered to me to know whether or not I was queer. Those labels don't mean much to me anymore, but I'm still curious about how other people perceive me. Maybe it's the more like egocentric part of me that's curious. Maybe it's the more narcissistic parts of me that are curious of how other people view me. So I always just like to ask these questions to understand how other people view me. But I don't think, most of the time, I don't think it really affects me in terms of my self-view anymore. But it is a point of curiosity for sure. Always. Do you think gay allies are part of the queer community? I don't. But I think I can be convinced. But no, I've never thought about them as such. I basically made a rope and chopped them into these like almost gnocchi looking things. And then I stand it up on the cut end like a log and I press down and it forms a round, just like that. If I press it while the ends are facing sideways, then it turns into a rectangle. I want it into a round, so I have the cut sides up and I squish and it's a round. Faux pastry bag, what does that mean? What does that mean? know if Grandma is lucky to have me, but she's luckier to have me than to have no one, I guess. Could always be better. Could always be worse. Isn't that how it goes? I mean, I certainly give her grief on some days, as she does me. I don't think this is faster, by the way, but it is nice to switch up the proceedings a little bit, if you know what I mean. You need dry flour. All right. Yes, chef. I also just don't like flouring because then I need water to seal it sometimes. And that's an extra step. I like enjoying the properness of the dough texture, but you're right, it does help. The roll, for sure. And if you look at Chinese grannies and aunties do this, they do it very fast. They do like 2 seconds per wrapper and they're done. My mom actually once tried to teach me how to do a wrapper. You know, you do like a roll with one hand and a turn with the other, and it's so coordinated, like the way people breathe underwater when they swim. I never got the hang of it, unfortunately. Andrew Joseph, are you a troll? I feel like you've only been saying very trolly things. And I am getting annoyed enough that I might mute you soon. Or ask one of our mods to. If you are indeed a troll. Because here's the thing. I like trolls if they're nice and funny. I don't know if you're funny enough for me to like you. So either give us a good joke. By the way, look at this beautiful round. Wow. Or stop saying stupid shit. Or we ban you. If you're gonna be a troll, you're gonna have to earn it. I do like some of our resident trolls. I do appreciate them. But yeah, I think the consensus is you're a boring troll. And I don't know if we like you. So if you say mum, we'll let you stay. So how does everyone feel about getting COVID boosters? Are you guys still into it? Are you over it? Are you getting your flu shots? What are we doing this winter season? So given that I got a booster roughly 2 months before I got COVID, I'm not sure if I'm still feeling the COVID boosters. That's just my stance. I don't seek to sway anyone with my actions and thoughts, but I am very curious about where the mindset is with everyone currently. I'm seeing a lot of disregard, generally. I think my audience is a little bit more attuned to these things, but you know, we also have a plethora of opinions, which I enjoy. I do like how much prettier these wrappers are. And I'm doing this because on a last live where I was making the dumplings, I believe someone asked if I ever did it the traditional way, which is to do the rounds instead of rolling out the entire dough like a sheet and cutting it. And it got me thinking, maybe I should practice this method. So every time, it's a little different. Did anyone hear the fake news about emergency broadcast? Ay, ay, ay. I mean, anything is possible, but one has to think why. Why would they do that? Is there money to be made off of that? Because that's really the question that all of us should be thinking every time we question something. It's really apparent that all we want to do as a society nowadays is to make money. We've lost sight of almost everything else. And so my question, whenever some like news about anything pops up, is there profit to be made here? If there is, then you can certainly convince me. But if there isn't, then why would I believe? I also think that these rounds give me the proper amount of thickness in the dough for me to make bigger dumplings, which I think Grandma will enjoy. So yeah, thank you to the viewer who asked me about whether or not I ever rolled out the dough traditionally. I'm enjoying this change in our routine. Very nice. Very nice. So fat. She's so plump. P-H-A-T. Fat. I still remember when Instagram would like almost punish you by adding a little warning box every time you wrote about COVID. You guys remember that? It was almost like a weird censorship thing that they fronted with it being fake news, But all of that's disappeared now. So certainly COVID is no longer a thing in our collective consciousness. How does it feel to be the perfect woman? Do we have another troll? I like this troll more. Unfortunately, I am not a perfect woman. It really depends on whose woman I am being judged against, the standards of womanhood that I must fulfill. I think I am far from the perfect woman in terms of how our society wants women to behave. And I'm quite okay with that, because I don't think our society really views women as women. Our society really doesn't view anyone as human at the end of the day. And so the more I realize that, the more okay I am with not fulfilling parameters of properness, let's just say. Can you imagine what a mess YouTube chat would be if people could share photos? Oh my gosh, there would be dick pics everywhere. Maybe even like gory, violent pics too. I'm sure it's a safety concern. It'd be very difficult to moderate multimedia chats quickly enough to prevent the more scandalous, horrific content from being shared. Do I still make chili oil? No, not really. But what do you mean recommendations? Like tips or spices to use? I mean, I know most of us would not share scandalous things, but I'm speaking for the rest of the internet population. I think we're a little bit of a abnormal set. We're not very representative of the internet at large here. Spices to use. Yeah, some sort of really nice red chili pepper if you want that red oil. Not all chili peppers will give you that redness, so you have to pick ground chili flakes that are red to yield a red oil. I have actually a recipe for chili oil up on the Brow Up and Barrel site that I quite like. And I also have a chili oil chili crisp recipe on Delish. So you can Google those. You can find those for sure. I don't really have more recommendations than that. Chili oil is great because you can customize it however you like with whatever spices you have on hand. Really, literally, the only things that you do need is chili and oil, so everything else is up to you. Yeah, mouth-watering chicken. Hell yeah. Is your husband Chinese? I feel like most people who are not Chinese hesitate to make a dish called saliva chicken or mouth-watering chicken. If you had to choose between getting $10 million or adding 10 more years to your life, $10 million, baby!
God, 10 more years to my life. Am I dying today or tomorrow? When am I dying? I mean, it's all relative, right? Like if you're telling me I'm dying at 60 versus if you're telling me I'm dying at 40 versus you telling me that I'm dying at 89, that will affect my answers greatly. Not knowing when I'm going to die and asking me whether or not I add 10 years to my life is quite untenable for me to choose. Like, I can't even trust my own answer when it comes to that. Dying at a natural age? I don't know, girl. That's not... What the fuck is natural? No, $10 million could also mean that I buy a jet plane and crash it, or I get into a lot of different drugs and I OD, or, you know, money is money. It just enables you to do more. But what you do with it, who's to say? Once you have that amount of wealth, it will change how you operate. It will change your relationship to not only money, but the world, because our world is made of money right now. Our world is so abstracted. Money is more real than most other things, because everything has become measured in money and currency. You could buy a jetpack with Fred for 10 million. That's hilarious. I could buy a Netflix subscription, yes, but would I? No. I didn't quit Netflix because of the money I was spending, that was part of it. But I quit Netflix because they wouldn't fucking let me transfer the main primary account holder to me, and every time I got an email from them, it would be coming up in my mom's name. And when I finally spoke to customer service, they were like, you could just delete her profile. And I'm like, I don't want to delete my dead mom's profile. So instead of just deleting mom's profile, I deleted every single profile. I deleted my entire account. The fact that banks, services, and other institutions make it so hard for you to move on after the death of a loved one is a everyday reminder of how little we care about death as a milestone of life, and the institutions neglect it completely. We don't care when someone has died. We only care about how much we can extract from them while they're alive, and for that reason, I fucking hate it all. Thank you, Holden. I appreciate your offer of your Netflix account. That's cool. Thanks for sharing, Siobhan. That's really cool. I love to see non-Chinese people make less well-known dishes and enjoy them. Yeah. So kou shui ji, aka saliva chicken, aka mouth-watering chicken, the name comes from the fact that it's supposedly so delicious that your mouth waters involuntarily at the sight of it. It's basically like a cold chicken salad with mostly just the addition of like garlic mince, ginger mince, and spicy chili oil, really. So it's a truly simple dish, very delicious, and you just need poached chicken. I sometimes watch Kenji's videos. To be honest with you, I've stopped watching food media almost entirely. So I don't know why, but I think I'm just kind of done with it for now. I think it started to bore me a little bit, and I think after being ousted of sorts from food media. I just wanted to move on. But maybe I'll return to it someday. Capitalism is great in theory, too bad it never works out in practice. You could say the same for almost any system of operation that we have. I will say this, I like this method, but I think I am making the wrappers rather thicker, relatively speaking, which means I'm going to yield fewer dumplings, but maybe that's fine. Probably should have made a double batch of dough, and I didn't do that. Yes, it does make our grief process more difficult with our rituals because you're not getting community-oriented closure. You're made to be suffering in private, which is exactly what capitalism intends for all aspects of living, including dying and death. It wants you to suffer alone. It wants you to feel alienated. It wants you to feel like you have no support network. Until you actually don't have any support network because you choose to alienate yourself from the process of being connected to others. And then you're weaker as a worker unit and more able to be manipulated. And it becomes so much easier for you to do exactly what the machine wants you to do and for you to disengage with your own feelings, and you take on the habit of doubting yourself more and more with each passing day, which with each reinforcement of, self-neglect, and eventually you take on groupthink and you choose to voluntarily disregard your own preferences for societally accepted preferences, and you choose to measure your own identity and success by this Emperor's New Clothes kind of agreement of success, and then capitalism succeeds, and yet finessing another unit of production. It's funny, I do agree with the statement that we'll always find ways to exploit the system, and one might say that this is survival of the fittest, but this kind of survival of the fittest is actually supremely detrimental to the survival of the species, but I guess we don't care. We are a self-defeating species. At the end of the day, we're so good at being so dumb. My apartment itself is quiet, but my neighborhood is noisy. There's a lot of honking of cars. It's a very honk-oriented neighborhood. Braised cumin lamb char with tomatoes as a risotto? Okay, that sounds innovative as fuck. And good. I'm not a fan of lamb. I think it's a little too rich and milky. Does lamb taste milky to anyone else? I don't like how milky lamb tastes. The urge to self-sabotage comes from our training, our socialization. I think it stems from this core practice of neglecting your real needs in favor of upholding societally agreed ways of operations. So some food for thought, for sure. The potatoes are just sitting in the salt water now, getting saltier by the minute, which is fine with me, I guess. I think I'm going to chop up the remaining pickles that I have in the fridge, put them in there with the Trader Joe's French onion dip, spice it up a little bit, and maybe add some minced carrot and celery. Does that sound good? Any folks in the chat living without health insurance right now? I'm curious to hear your experiences so that I may prepare myself for similar frustrations and fears. Yeah, what is health insurance? Indeed, sir, indeed, what is? There is no insurance in this country. All the health is uninsured, untenable, constantly in jeopardy. America, where living and dying feel very similar. It's great. This country trains you for the afterlife. Congrats, you're already in hell. How does it feel? Your sin was being poor. Seems like we did not progress past our Calvinistic roots. We're just making sure that we're on track for class warfare, you know? Sooner or later, that's what we're egging ourselves on towards. Why are some people in America against free healthcare? I don't know. Wait, Holden, which country do you live in? Whoa, my color balance is way off. Sorry about that. Will you fix yourself? There we go. Maybe? That's the thing though, right? All of our health insurance plans are tied to our work. It is indentured servitude at that point. People who stay at their jobs because they need the health care attached to it. I mean, capitalism. Yup. Janice Ian. Great username. Definitely the best character. Next to Gretchen. Gretchen is honestly my favorite from Mean Girls, but Janice, yes. Dental and vision not included in U.S. healthcare. They are considered separate plans for some reason. Mind-boggling, yes. Why not just put like our reproductive organs on a separate health plan too? Penis, vag, uterus, Vans deferens, I don't know what other parts are there. We don't care, right? No, I'm not gonna continue using it as a dip, cause I'm not a dip girl. I don't do dips. But I think I'm gonna use it as salad dressing because it's mostly sour cream and mayo. Two hours in and we got one flat done. Let me see. We are at 20% battery. I'm gonna wash my hands and I'm gonna charge you guys up. Guys, I really don't recommend falling off a bed. My body hurts like hell today. Okay. I actually don't eyeball my dumpling sauce. Sorry, I actually only eyeball my dumpling sauce. So I don't actually have the proper ratios to tell you. Guys, are you so excited for the taste test video that I'm premiering next Tuesday? It took me only 3 months to make. I'm working slower and slower these days. Flashback to a year ago when I thought I could be doing this full time. Nope, not I. Not I. All right. Goodbye, Andrew Joseph. I'm sorry you failed the last troll test. You're just not entertaining enough. I think I've blocked 2 people from chat now. I don't know if Linda Mon still watches, but she was the first one that I personally blocked from the chat. I think after 2 years, I just got fed up one day. There was a lot of like whiplash from the stuff that Linda would comment, and I just had enough of it. So this is not a democracy, y'all. It's still a tyranny. But it's a democratic tyranny. Just waiting for a coup one of these days. So you can't actually block people on YouTube, but you can make them invisible on YouTube. Which means they can still watch your stuff, but their comments won't show up. Yes, I loved her on a good day too, but I think for my mental health's sake, I just could not deal with the inconsistencies. Yeah, a democracy as long as you do what I say. That's exactly what a democracy is. What do you mean she was a little OCD sometimes? Explain that. What does that statement mean? Yeah, it looks like gnocchi, doesn't it? Sometimes I miss Linda. Linda, if you're still watching this, sometimes I miss you. But for my mental health, baby girl, couldn't do it anymore. Sorry. I made my choices. Guys, explain what you mean. Obsessively repeating questions and requests that you told her you were not going to answer. I see. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how you're using OCD, but I think just being repetitive does not warrant the usage of OCD. And yeah, we know you didn't mean to offend, but I think we're growing more and more aware of the fact that a lot of these mental diagnoses impact people's lives in very negative ways. And we don't want to use it casually. And that Jonathan says 2 people with OCD may present very differently from each other, as is the case with a lot of mental disorders and illnesses. So trying to move away from stereotypes of mental disorders so that we don't stigmatize unknowingly. OCD means only cook dumplings. Yeah. Everything is a spectrum. Omar says that Holden guy is not it. You want to ban Holden too? I don't know. So far I'm a little bit entertained. I am appreciating the 36% trolling tone that's happening, but we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you, Omar, for your opinions. But so far, I haven't heard any other complaints, so it is a democracy if more people gang up against one particular user, I guess. But let's pay a little bit of attention to how we're justifying silencing. I've already banished my one person today. I don't feel like banishing 2 on a single day. Oh yeah, exes. That's okay. I understand. I'll let you guys work out your own little drama in your own time. Everybody needs a little healing every now and then. Sometimes it's done in a public arena. Chat is getting a little unhinged. I'm enjoying it. So, are there folks who are willing to share their experience, either living with or having any relationships with people living with OCD? I'm curious about it. I'm always down to hear different perspectives. I've never made British roast potatoes or Yorkshire pudding, I don't think. Is it worth me trying to make? A lot of mental illnesses can ruin people. I think depression can ruin someone too. If it goes untreated, ignored, if it doesn't go explained, if people don't understand their own relationships with their mental illnesses and disorders, for sure, yeah. Not just OCD, but yeah, for sure. I think my mom potentially could have had undiagnosed OCD her entire life, thinking back now. What makes you think you might have OCD? How does OCD clash with hoarding? Christian, not sure that joke is a joke, and not sure if it's going to land with our current discussion. Might want to rethink that. Yeah, there we go. Glad you did it, buddy, and not me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, see? Fresh from the coven. Presenting a different perspective of what OCD can feel like, be like to live with. So another reason why it benefits us all to move away from stereotypes is understanding that mental disorders don't really all fit neatly into a box sometimes. definitely hoarded. I would say that her hoarding got worse once she started living on her own, which now that we're talking about it makes me wonder if her OCD got worse too. If she had. This is just speculation, you know? I don't know if my mom had OCD, I'm just speculating. Yep. Hoarding and poverty too. Yep. Yet another reason why I don't like the kind of Marie Kondo porn that we've popularized in the past decade, half decade. It doesn't really take into account class, insecurities of financial stability. You know, the Marie Kondo philosophy and lifestyle that made her whole school of organization popular is very classist in a way. These dumplings are looking so cute today. Wow, look at that. Fantastic. Look at how cute they are today. So cute. Honestly, I kind of hoard food too. I think it comes from growing up with parents who always just bought things when they were on sale and always kept them on hand, you know? I always have food in my pantry and fridge and freezer. So, is it bad? No, it's just how I grew up. It's slow going, but I'm glad how cute these are. Oh, so adorable. They look easy even after you've seen me work on them for 2 hours. Exactly. There isn't a black and white dividing line sometimes. Mental disorders are actually becoming more and more fascinating to me, especially after I did all of my research on narcissistic personality disorder. just knowing that all of us can have traits of a mental disorder, and thinking about how sometimes, often arbitrary, the diagnoses can be. Also relating to my Instagram posts on autism and how people get diagnosed or don't get diagnosed has been very fascinating. Oh, thank you, cats. You're so generous, cats. So I think this is kind of like a liberating thinking exercise, trying to decipher how our society deems something acceptable or unacceptable, and ultimately discovering that there isn't like a hard and fast rule, and that it's all kind of arbitrary boundaries, just like our political boundaries, our geographic boundaries, borders, all of that. It comes through this idea that you can own knowledge and own land and own resources and even own people and culture. This sense of ownership has become very troublesome and oppressive and exploitative, and we've made a nasty habit out of it, and all it does is make most people pretty miserable and more detached and alienated from one another, and feeling like they can't exchange things freely, that they can't move freely, and it's made our structures very problematic. The problem isn't undocumented immigrants. The problem is, why do we have borders in the first place? Who made those borders? Who acquired this land? How did they acquire this land? Through what means did they acquire this land? What actions they committed to in order to possess this land? How do they maintain this land? How do they hoard the resources within the land? What is the history through which they have controlled the narrative of why they are justified to this land? All of it. All of it. And once you see something more clearly, you begin to see a lot of things more clearly. And soon, if you can get over the blinding sadness of the etymology of our society, you may be able to finally loosen the grip of the chokehold that you've willingly submitted to. We have, in essence, been defaulted to a state of buying into society without being presented with the option to opt out. And I think as we grow older, if we choose to, and if we have the privilege to see exactly what we've been signed up for, and we determine that it is not really healthy for us, that we can then opt out. And I think after Mom died, I began to realize the ways in which I wanted to opt out of more and more things. Because I saw how much they did not serve Mom, and I decided that I didn't want that for myself. Ultimately, the greatest privilege is to say no, which is something that our current systems often punish you for. But if you have enough privilege, then you can say no. And if you choose to share that privilege with others, you can help them say no too. And ultimately, presenting people with the choice to say no is the best way to build solidarity. I don't think we can create sustainable solidarity by just telling people what they should do and punishing them socially or morally when they don't follow your lead. But if you present them with the option of an alternative that might serve them better, that's how you gain eternal allyship. Because I think true solidarity comes out of a place of trying to help the self by helping others, and seeing and realizing that they all are essentially one thing. Well, Holden, you are the troll of the night. Props. You win. But I don't think you're going to come to America, and by the way that healthcare is going in the UK, I'm not going to go to the UK, so I think you should start saying yes to some girls. You get an imaginary medal because we don't want to contribute to landfill, and all medals are imaginary anyway. They just use up concrete resources, and we don't do that shit here, you know? But yes, an imaginary medal is yours. Congratulations, sir. Thank you for being here, chat. Truly, you have been a source of great delight in my rather stale life. And it's great to have virtual company while I do dumplings for 3 hours. So you would cross oceans for me? That's nice. Thank you. I don't think it's worth the carbon emissions to cross oceans for me, but you do you, girl. When does it get creepy? I mean, I think when he actually crosses oceans for me, that would creep me out for sure. Ay, ay. One day, I will regret my actions. The day is not today, though. Fresh from the Coven, where do you live? How big of an ocean are you crossing? Are you guys both straight men? I want to know all the people who are jokingly hitting on me if you're queer. I want to know the amount of people who are actually jokingly or not, because all jokes contain at least some truth. How queer. It's hard to take someone seriously holding his cock. Oh, you're not a man. Okay. Michigan. Lovely. I've always wanted to have some good Midwestern influence in my life. That Midwestern nice, that is gentle yet cold. I appreciate that you are parasocially in love with me. I think that honestly is the best form of love. It's actually the most ideal form of love. It's the most platonic of loves, not in the way that we've come to use platonic, but rather, you know, Plato platonic, in that it is the purest form of love. To be able to think that you love someone without knowing them fully, because only then is that love itself the most idealized, pure, unadulterated, and unaffected by reality. This is the fantasy love that we all yearn for. It goes without any input from reality to exist infinitely in our minds. I would love a full English breakfast being cooked for me. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fireworks in my neck of the woods too. I'm not sure. I think people just want to celebrate being alive, which is fine. Oh, you're right. It is the end of the Chinese national holiday. I didn't realize it was a week-long thing though, is it? We're not making mini tacos, although, GoogleMan81, you could argue that dumplings are a form of tacos. What do you guys think? Valid? Are dumplings tacos? Wow, food philosophy time. Oh, it's definitely only for mainland China. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. How about instead of a holiday though, we actually give them back land? Hey, how about that? And then maybe we kick out the first wave of illegal immigrants to ever hit this part of town. It's not my fault that it's 4:26 a.m. for you. Yeah, I think I've not had too many pasties, but I've had like Filipino pasties. I feel like those are kind of like empanadas, you know, when you think about it. Are taco sandwiches? Great question. I would argue that tacos are actually a salad. I think sandwiches need to have bookends, holding some filling together. So, is a dumpling a sandwich? Do we count this as a bookend? Or does a sandwich need to be opened? Quesadilla is a sandwich. I fully agree. Absolutely, quesadilla is a sandwich. Oh, sandwich wraps? Like a chicken Caesar wrap in a flour tortilla? Good question. Fantastic question. These are the questions we should be answering in school. Are you sure an gyro is a sandwich? Is a non-beef item in a burger bun a burger or a sandwich? That's a false premise. A burger is a sandwich. So both. It can be both, depending on who the business owner is and what they want to market it as. But a burger is a sandwich. It's not an either or. It's a yes and. I wouldn't automatically say that all gyros are orgasms. I would say the good gyros are. There are bad ones. Meat is too dry. The wrap is too dry. The sauce is way under. No pickles at all. No crunch, fresh vegetable element. So, you know. I'm picky about my orgasms. Not everyone qualifies as an orgasm. All of this like immigration border genocide talk has made me think about how my first kiss in college was someone who was really upset at how everyone was so like celebratory that we had finally killed Osama bin Laden. Do you guys remember when that happened? I was still in college when that happened. And I remember the news broke out, and everyone in this very, like, liberal-leaning college was almost like having a holiday in mood at the news. And that was before I became, like, politically aware, too. But I remember that moment when he was like very upset. And I didn't understand at the time why. But I think I finally do now. But it's nice to know that my first kiss had such great critical thinking skills. Proud of that. Proud of that. No one died. We're just talking about when news broke out of Osama bin Laden's death. Not news, but simply a memory. Which we will all become one day, guys. We shall all be a memory one day. What kind of memory do you think we'll become? Could you make meatballs? Yeah, of course. Perfect meatballs. Cute little meatballs. Very veggie forward meatballs, in fact. Really? After watching me for so long, you're still depressed at that thought? That's funny. Guess I'll just have to up the depression content. Desensitize you. My job is to prepare you all for death. Not in the sense that I'm going to kill you, but I want to prepare you by communally making peace with it. As we die together, which is quite romantic when you think about it. I would make a great cult leader if I had any drive to make something of myself, but unfortunately I don't. So what I can do is spread the depression. I'm really good at sharing my depression. Oh, you don't want to be remembered. You know what, girl? I'm going to cheers you to that. Absolutely. Being remembered is also, I think, a product of the way we have come to feel like the only way to make living worth it is to possess. And in this case, being remembered comes out of a feeling of battling our existential insignificance by reassuring ourselves that for sure we will contribute in some way that will make people want to remember us, which is in a sense possessing their headspace. Would you like to live anywhere other than New York? I sure would. You lost your last cult leader? Uh-oh. How did they go? Did you have a hand in losing that cult leader? I wouldn't make a good cult leader. Wow, that sounds like a challenge. Try me, why don't you? Yes, everybody take your meds, please. By the way, the dumplings tonight are absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. And I never compliment myself in this way. So I'm very happy to report that I feel like I truly believe they are gorgeous. You may not feel like they look any different, but from my vantage point, they look way cuter tonight. All right, guys, last leg of this dough. And then we make our potato salad if you want to hang around. Maybe? I do wish I made enough dough to use up all the filling, but I guess we'll just have to freeze and deal with really watery filling next time. How was Grandma today? Grandma was okay. She at first didn't want to go out, and then she wanted to go out, and then I didn't want to go out anymore. So I said, hey, it looks very gray and overcast and rainy outside, and she said, okay, let's not go out. I think I'm finally learning Grandma's language in a way, and I think I'm finally learning the nuances of her responses. I'm finally learning how to communicate in a Chinese way, and I'm finally allowing myself to acknowledge that she does indeed care very much about my well-being, in the way that, like, I didn't really realize how my mom was caring about my well-being while my mom was alive. I think I'm beginning to understand how Grandma cares for me in ways that I formerly did not recognize. I think her organic willingness to not go outside after I mentioned the weather was her interpreting my statement of facts of the weather as correctly, in today's case, correctly reading my reluctance to go outside. And she basically allowed me to not have to go through waiting for her to put on her clothes and fill out the permission slips and waiting for the elevator to take her out. You should go get your snacks and the blunt. Absolutely. And I think it's been sort of a problem between us in terms of cultural read, and also in part maybe I'm finally starting to learn how to step away from my egocentric way of observing the world and interpreting the actions of people around me. It's something that I've been thinking about. How I misread people, how I tend to react to others in a very defensive way, how that might have hurt a lot of my relationships and interactions with people in the past, in the present, maybe in the future, if I continue to engage in this way. And you know, postmodernism and all, I don't really know if there's a right way to react or a right way to interpret, but I can acknowledge that if I try to step away from my own brain a little bit, maybe I can start to see the ways in which things are not about me all the time. Solipsism, yes, indeed. I think something that I've been exploring in therapy is maybe this stemmed from being a young immigrant and only really relying on myself, my own brain, my intuition to understand my surroundings and engage my surroundings when I didn't have a grasp of the language and the culture. And maybe it's a coping mechanism that I never really quite grew out of. And I'm just realizing now at the age of 34 that, like, yo, you can use language instead of your head, or you just think about yourself a little less because you're not in danger anymore of being misunderstood, of being neglected, of being ignored, of being bullied, of being ostracized. It's hard though, because I think when I was that age, that kind of rocked my entire relationship with the world. Yes, main character syndrome, only child syndrome, whatever you want to call it, I have it. And it's become more and more obvious to me how maybe that had a hand in the relationship that I had with my mom and with others as well. But you know, these days most of my self-analysis tends to revolve around regret of the relationship and the interactions I had had with mom. And so this, of course, was the first place my brain went is, wow, think about the ways in which communication with mom and dealing with mom and talking with mom and understanding mom and loving mom could have been so different. Grandma does look good for her age, indeed. And it's been 2 years, and I think in these last 2 years I've done a lot of growing up. I'm not saying that I'm done growing up, but I have done a lot of maybe growing that has been much needed and delayed, especially because of the way mom treated me. She was not as bad as things could have gotten, but definitely fell into the category of helicopter parenting. Even in my 30s, she didn't seem to be able to help herself. Maybe that's just the way moms are. That was always her explanation and excuse. I wish my mom was here rolling out this dough with me too. You and me both. But here we are doing it alone, and every bit remembering mom, even in her absence. Ironically, I remember her more now that she's not here. Seems to be, oddly enough, how life works out. So it is comforting in a way to know that they can be just as present in your mind, if not corporeally here. And you know, like, to Sarah's point about the interaction I had with Aaron the other day on the live, like, it's a two-way street, right? What you saw was not just Aaron acting out and me reacting out to it, but also know that that was a product of the dynamic we had nurtured throughout our decade together. And we were both kind of stuck in that reactionary way of problem solving that didn't really solve any problems. And I think it really did take breaking up and gaining space and like re-owning myself independent of another person in my life to see all the things that I was doing wrong. And not communicating well is not always an issue of communication, but sometimes it can be an issue of desiring different things and feeling instinctually a lack of commonality. I think I had been feeling like we were misunderstanding each other, and that misunderstanding went beyond just talk. And also keep in mind that when Aaron and I met, we were just 20 years old. We were fresh out of college. You know, so we basically spent all of our young adulthood together, and we were learning things together, and neither one of us really like thought about, oh, is this healthy? We just went along with it, you know? And I'm looking back, I'm really thankful that I spent that decade of life with him, because no matter how aware or unaware we were still always caring of each other and trying our best, even if we didn't always have the right solutions. And just based off of my very limited online dating experience, things could have been a lot worse for me in my 20s, knowing that there's different types of men out there with even more problems that could have presented wildly different to me had I been in a relationship with them. So, as always, could have been better, but also could have been way worse. And I'm just glad that it wasn't way worse. And I'm also glad that we're enjoying our time away and separately from each other, and that we still feel like we could trust each other as friends and lean on each other for support when the time comes. I don't like thinking about relationships as like success or failure because of breaking up or discontinuing a certain status. I think that's very close-minded. I think in my view, if I loved you once upon a time, I loved you for a good reason, and finding out that we're becoming more and more different people with different priorities in life is not enough to make me regret that time together. And with that, we have completed our dumpling session for tonight. Woo! I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or even a psych major, but woo! I am very, 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 very thankful that I was not exposed to narcissistic personality disorder types earlier in my life. Aaron is not one. I know that I've mentioned the disorder before on lives and people seem to assume that it was Aaron. I just like to make the clarification that it is not Aaron that I'm talking about. So don't come at him. Some people just assume that because Aaron has been my romantic partner for so long that every time I talk about a person being narcissistic in my life, it's gotta be him. No, that's just because he's the most visible person that you've seen in my videos. He's not the only person in my life. Guys, I'm hungry. At 11 p.m. Not good. I'm gonna need to do some dishes first. So you can come back in 10 minutes if you want to not watch me do dishes. Are you gonna do anything wild with your... Define wild. I do want to cut it. Dish intermission. Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, you're eating your girl dinner? I'm not bleaching my hair ever again. That shit was not good for my hair. Yeah, this is the fire type play stuff on TV. Absolutely. You're welcome. It's like the Yule log burnings. It's my specialty. I also have to answer a text. Break for all.
An old coworker just asked me, "Have you ever gone to Payul in Jackson Heights?" My partner and I just went and we really enjoyed. Shows you how much he knows about me. If you've seen any one of my videos talking about any restaurant, that would be the first restaurant. Come on, bro. All right. I am starting to unfollow people that I followed starting a long time ago because people at work took great offense at me not following them back on social media. When I first started working at Delish, I am thinking that it's going to feel really good for me to start unfollowing people. I just don't need that in my life. It's like obligatory friendship. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But people take it as a personal offense, you know? They feel like you just don't like them or something? I don't know, man. But you know what? Here's my rule of thumb for unfollowing people now from my last job. If you didn't do shit and you were afraid to speak out about the union, yeah, you're getting unfollowed. You are getting majorly unfollowed. Oh God, that's all of Mom's baking soda that just came out. Whoopsies. People who are scared to stand up for the right things. I don't have space for you in my life. Sorry. Not sorry. I didn't want to unfollow them when I was still at Delish, you know, because I didn't want to ruin the lack of cohesion even further. But yeah, girl, if you're afraid of unionizing or you're just personally against it, you're not the type of person I want in my life. That means you don't have it in you to consider the community. You don't have it in you to be a giver. You don't have it in you to even honor yourself and your own worth as a human being. And you are not someone that I want to become more like. And that's my baseline for keeping friends, is do I want to be more like you? Do I want to let you infect me? If not, then I don't want you in my life. I need to know that you are such a personality that I want to absorb you in a way. Not to like eat you and devour you, but to osmosis myself with you, you know? True for friendships, and especially true for romantic relationships.
And truly, it does not hurt me either way if you remain subscribed to Delish. I truly don't care. If it brings you joy, by all means, subscribe. Enjoy the content. It does not affect me. It never has. I don't know how many of you are new here tonight, but I have not received a single cent of ad revenue on those videos, so it's more or less been this way. Hi. This is my disgusting leftover. It's barley and split peas, although I'm not sure anymore. But we'll get to the potato salad shortly. I just need to bite food real fast. It is 11:04. I need to stop making food after this. You were about to ask if I'm still getting ad revenue from them, but to think you never got anything. Yeah, that's how media works, baby. They don't give you shit. That's why we unionized. Okay, we're dumping the potato liquid. Yum. This is what I use my dips for. Was there no contract? No, there was no talent contract. I was never supposed to be talent. I was not hired as video talent. I was hired as a contractor test kitchen assistant. And then they decided, oh, you actually have kitchen experience and have insight. Why don't you start appearing on our videos as a cameo? And that was a Whoa Low series. And I had absolutely no idea what I was doing because nobody knew what they were doing. Okay. Potato salad time? I didn't get paid for the videos either. I just got my salary. The videos were part of my job. Welcome to media, baby. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you love the world we live in? Oh, sorry. Color balance. All right. Potatoes. Mushy. Properly mushy. Okay. Finger ricey mushy. That is the proper potato. Why are you wearing Camp Delish? Because I have the shirt now and it's kind of cool, no? I'm not going to throw out a perfectly 100% cotton shirt just because I got fired from a place. It's 100% cotton. It's a great shirt. Also, I had Grandma crop it. So, it's cute now. I'm glad you enjoyed the episode because I definitely did not. What shall we put into our potato salad, y'all? I'm thinking a little pepper, a little celery, a little carrot. Do we want raw garlic and, oh, pickles, good one. Do we want raw garlic in here? Okay. Raw garlic it is. Much better things to come onwards. I mean, whether or not we have better things to come onwards is default. I don't think you have the option to not go onwards, so. I guess you do. Never mind. You certainly always have the option to not go onwards. It has not come to that point yet for me. That's privilege too, I guess. Chomps. And now they sell chomps at Trader Joe's. And I have to say, when I first saw chomps at Trader Joe's, it brought back some flashbacks of hilarity with Julia. Do we have any controversial statements you want me to discuss before we log off for the night? Any more ways to get us demonetized is welcome. The spicier, the better. Julia is an amazing person. I'm very happy that she was as involved in the camping episode of Budget Eats. That was a truly fun day because I didn't have to shoot myself. Because when I do shoot myself, it makes me want to shoot myself. Her dog is beautiful, yes. Her dog is named Gus. Gus is a cutie. Gus is a Keyshawn. He's very fluff, very antisocial when it comes to other dogs, but loves humans. Gus is a sweetheart. He's also a therapy dog. Julia got him trained to do like therapy for special populations. I've never made knafe, no. It is not my kind of food, to be honest with you. It is also highly labor intensive. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I only do high labor concepts about twice a year. I'm, for the most part, too lazy for it. What am I? You can't tell if I'm making a joke because you've been making dumplings all night. Oh, true. But I only do this for Grandma. I would not do this for myself. This is my atonement. Homemade dumplings is my atonement. Until my debt is paid in full. Alright, peppers. 2 of each color. Yes, great. I feel very conflicted about adding peppers in here, actually. I'm not sure if they belong. They are good peppers, though. I am working on a potato salad now. For color, diversity, vegetables, vitamins, general health. I don't know. Color. Did I say color? Probably said color. Will you be eating later? Girl, it's 11 p.m. I'm gonna eat the leftover that I heated right here. I don't think I should eat anything after this one. Are we ready for this disgusting spoonful of... It's not quite mush. This is a particularly gross looking spoonful. It's not quite mush, actually. I didn't cook it all the way to mush this time, but... Mmm. It's good. That French onion dip makes everything good. How can you go wrong with sour cream and mayo? And salt. You can't. much microplastics do you think I'm ingesting tonight because of this cutting board, which is courtesy of Delish, by the way? A billion microplastic. Hi from Coachella is happening right now? I'm so out of touch. Does Coachella always take place in October? Wow. I thought it already happened this year. Get a P.O. box? What are you gonna send me? What if I don't want more shit in my life? What if people send me hate mail and death threats? I don't think I need that. Oh, it's a city. See? That's how little I know of the world, guys. Thank you for the education. Okay, here we are. Lots of veggies. Maybe not enough veggies. I have this lemon. Maybe we should use it. Who needs a juicer anyway? Is that enough? Probably not. Probably need a little bit more. All right. Now is the fun part, spices. First, I want some poppy seeds for crunch. Poppy seed and potato salad with a little bit of lemon juice. Are we making lemon poppy potato salad? Is that a good thing? Oh, and you guys said raw garlic, right? Yes, you did. You're learning a lot tonight? What are you learning? Omar, do you miss Holden? I knew you would. All the world's greatest love stories begin with animosity. We love a little drama and toxicity, you know? I don't blame you. See? This is how true love forms. I love it. I didn't ban Holden, so I think he had to go sleepy. What time is it in the UK? I need to get my black peppercorn. Bear with me. Tell me when. When is enough black pepper? There's a lot of black pepper, y'all. Somebody say stop. Nobody's saying stop. Okay, 2 chilies, smoked chipotle, and Kashmiri. Kashmiri will provide more of an even heat that dissolves into the salad. Smoked chipotle will kind of float on top and coat everything in a layer of summer hedonism. If I had celery seeds, I would. I don't have celery seeds, but you know what I do have? I was eyeing caraway seeds. Should we put caraway in here, or is that too distracting? Oh, we're gonna need more mayo. We are gonna need more. Ooh. This is not enough mayo. I think we also need smoked paprika. We got black lime for acidity, smoked paprika for smokiness, obviously, and then this kofta baharat, which has black urfa chili, silk chili, cumin, allspice, garlic, sunflower seed oil, sea salt. Let's do it. Do it. Unfortunately, I do not have the ranch powder in my possession, so that's a no-go. But we will go in with white pepper as well. And a little smoke and herb, which has shallot and fennel and thyme and oregano and mint, among other things. Oh, Greek yogurt, huh? Yeah, I feel like Greek yogurt is a little more versatile than this dip. So I'm just trying to use up this dip, honestly, because I feel like once you open fatty stuff like this, they kind of turn bad pretty fast, and that's been open for a week now, so I want to make sure I'm utilizing it before it goes to waste. I will not let mayo die on my hands. That is a sin I cannot live with in the afterlife. I do believe it is time for us to taste this concoction, though. Mayhaps we discover we need a little honey mustard in here. For we do not have sweetness, except this is caramelized onion dip. So the caramelized onion will have sweetness. Is there sugar? Oh, there is sugar in here as well. Brown sugar and sugar. So there's 2 types of sugar. Okay, let's taste this. Let's see what we got. It looks plenty creamy now. Ready? I think this bite has everything. Carrots, celery, peppers, pickles. That's pretty good. It is missing something. Okay, I'm gonna add in some of this. one of my favorite new spices. It has fennel, black pepper, rosemary, oregano, garlic, coriander, allspice, red jalapeno chili. Ram, good question. I don't know. I guess I'm feeling a little bit crazy tonight. I really shouldn't be on live anymore, but I am also very stubborn and I wanted to get all this shit cooked so that I stop eating Nutella and peanut butter and have some not Nutella and peanut butter food for myself. So here we are, almost 4 hours of living. So in another 20 minutes, maybe I'll go unalive myself. JK. I think by now we all know how much I hate the word unalive, so. All right. Ready? Fascinating. I'm not sure if I like this new development. How long do you think this potato salad will last me? 1 day? 2 days? 2.5 days? It's not gonna last me 3 days. Are we enjoying the sound? You're welcome. Okay. A little more smoked paprika and we're gonna call it quits. I think it's gonna taste a little bit better overnight after it sits for a while. I'm gonna add what I'm gonna add. And then we'll box this up. Go us. So that's breakfast. And that's lunch. Thank you all for joining me. I'm gonna go live my life now. Off the live.